Welcome to the Underground.
Turn me up, bitch!
My Little Underground with Peter A.
You do have to like the Beatles a lot to not be annoyed by that stuff. Because they do say like stuff like, you know, a world without the Beatles is just less.
Yeah.
It's just like lesser.
I think it was like everybody forgot the Beatles songs except for this one dude, except for the protagonist.
That's it, yeah.
And he just the
Two
whole
other people as well.
Yeah, we saw it in theaters.
it's so ridiculous.
It's
I love the premise though.
the premise is pretty fun. The way they execute that, them circle jerking on the Beatles
there's
for
also just
2 hours is rough.
But there's also just like such a good like examination of like imposter syndrome
Yeah.
and like plagiarism and like he just feels so guilty, and like the two other people are just two random people and they just happen to know the Beatles, and so it's like this White Walker plot throughout the movie of like they just keep getting closer and closer to him of like are they gonna reveal him as a fraud or like what's gonna happen, and then it turns out they're just like, thank you for bringing the Beatles back.
Now that would be funny if somebody said, "You fucking fraud! How dare you?" And that would be interesting.
Yeah, there's a scene where he's doing like interviews and stuff, and people are just like, "You're such a good songwriter," and he's like, "I know." And then someone holds up like a yellow submarine in the background, and he's like, "Shit, they know." It's real. That's a pretty fun scene. There's some good plot stuff, but it's like circle. I'm just
gonna go home and listen
into
to the Beatles. Yeah, or watch a Beatles documentary.
Yeah,
well that's why.
Like that.
Yeah, but it's like more than just that though.
It is, but that is the premise.
It's like a rom-com and stuff. Like that is like you have to put aside how much you have distaste for the Beatles to judge it as a movie. You don't like the Beatles.
I like the Beatles.
You don't like the Beatles.
I don't hate the Beatles. I can listen to the Beatles
ever.
I don't listen to the Beatles ever.
You don't like the Beatles.
Yeah, I don't listen to the Beatles.
You don't listen to any old music though.
I listen to Abbey Road is pretty good.
Very old music.
Very old music.
Yeah, you don't listen to anything from the 1900s unless it's like from the late 1900s.
You said Abbey Road?
Abbey Road is really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah. But, on my way here, I'm not like, I'm going to listen to the Beatles today.
No.
I listened to some of Revolver a couple of years ago.
Revolver's such a good album.
Yeah.
That's my favorite Beatles album.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it. And, I mean, Michael Jackson covered Come Together on one of his albums. It was okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But that's it. That's my extent of my relationship with the Beatles. And Hey Jude is a great song.
Hey Jude's a great song.
That's on the White Album, right?
I think so. Yeah. But interesting cover of Help, where they make it feel like a cry for help when he sings it.
Yeah, that is a great song.
Cool.
That was really cool.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like the Beatles, objectively, great songwriting.
Yeah,
really
for
good.
sure.
Oh, man.
The foundation of modern music.
When they did, there's a really funny scene where it's like Ed Sheeran is like a pretty prominent character in that sometimes, and like he's just playing himself, but like a kind of an asshole version of himself, and he challenges the dude like, hey, you know what? I'm tired of all this praise. We're gonna go into one room. We're both gonna write songs right now, and then we're gonna come out. We're gonna perform them for all these people backstage, and then they're gonna judge. And he writes like a beautiful song, Ed Sheeran style, and then the other guy comes out and he has The Long and Winding Road, and he sings it, and it's just this like really like beautiful cover of it that I kind of prefer over the Beatles version because it's so much more minimalist, and it's just like he's just doing the piano and just the voice, and it's like I'd never stopped to listen to the lyrics before, but it was like it's a beautiful song. It's very nice songwriting.
Yeah,
it's very nice.
Same with Eleanor Rigby.
Yeah,
and they got some stuff.
Yeah.
That said, this is how I would feel like the Bruce Springsteen movie.
Dude,
I don't like Bruce Springsteen that much, so
I don't understand that. You know what I mean? Like this guy, his life was changed when you heard Bruce Springsteen. That's the concept of the movie.
I'll say,
is it? I don't know. Maybe I'm judging.
I was talking to one of my friends,
You're fine.
Josh. We were talking about that movie, and he's like, "I'm really excited for that movie because that is basically how I feel about Bruce Springsteen. Where like a lot of the stuff that he talked about in his songs have just hit me so hard and everything. It's like everybody's got that one artist, and for me, like I just have no love for Bruce Springsteen at all. I think the songs are too cheesy and weird. But it's like, sure, if that hits you, great. This is like if they did an LCD Sound System movie. For me,
that's gonna happen.
They did.
10
They
years.
would shut up and play the hits, but then.
But like a fictional.
Yeah, but that still got me though.
Gotcha.
There's that one scene where James Murphy goes in that garage where all this stuff is, and he just looks at it and he just focuses on his face and he looks like he's about to cry, and I was like, no, I'm about to cry.
You ever heard the band ESG?
No.
So they're a New York group from like the 70s, and they make a lot of what we would call now dance punk music. Mm-hmm. And I'm listening to this, and I'm like, there's no way LCD Sound System did not listen to this group.
Oh man,
it makes you think about that group a lot different. Not like they're like culture vultures, but it just shows you like what they might have got.
The influences stuff.
Yeah.
What's Sparks? You listen to Sparks?
No.
Sparks is like, when did Queen come out with it was like early 80s or late 70s?
Late 70s.
Yeah.
Like their big anthem album. There's an early 70s album, like literally 1970, it's by this band Sparks, and it's like, it is Queen. You're like, oh shit.
Wow.
It is very weird. Listening to it, it's like big anthemic, like theatrical rock, and it's just like 5 or 6 years before Queen. And you're like, I
love that. I love seeing where things come from.
They ripped off Muse.
That's
that's what it is.
Queen is a poor
Which
man's
ESG
Muse.
is it?
ESG? Well, let me see.
It was like
Walk over.
4 of them.
4 of them. Okay. Let's see.
I need it.
You need it. I don't see any of the. Oh, wait. ESG. Oh, you put the dots. I think it's. Yeah. It's a healthy assumption. ESG. Apple Music. That's not
Tom has an English degree.
That's not it.
I don't know that actually, but it might autocorrect.
I'm going to pull it up on my thing after we record, and I'll send it to you.
Dope.
Yeah, I'll show it to you on Spotify.
LCD. So there's like a.
They're really good.
Basically LCD.
Yeah, like it's like, you're gonna be like, oh shit. And I tweeted about it, and my friend was like, dude,
Yeah.
so right. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
crazy. All right, let's set the stage. Level 37, My Little Underground. I'm Peter A, and we got some undesirable folk here with me today, Tucker and Tom.
I'll say that's fair, but hearing it as a title like that,
Yeah.
really puts things in perspective.
We knew this would come back to bite us.
From the Undesirables podcast, a dating podcast with 2 people who shouldn't be doing a dating podcast. Is that true?
Man. You know the tagline.
Well, you did the tagline better than we did the tagline. We tried to do that in the last couple episodes, and
It's terrible.
we can't do it. You're just so much better at the intro.
It's a great tagline, though.
We're gonna hire
thanks,
you to
man.
do our intro.
Oh, yeah? You can't pay me. You guys aren't making money off of this.
You're
So.
right.
Hey.
It's fine. We're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere else you get podcasts. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. It's Peter_A, and you can follow the show as well at MLU Pod. Welcome, Tucker and Tom.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm Tom, by the way, so that people get that sweet.
We can't see you.
Yeah.
And I'm Tom.
Well, the voice.
dude.
We can identify with the voices. Yeah.
Exactly.
You just
I'm Tom. And
dude. Don't do that. I'm Tom. He's Tucker. The nasally one's Tucker.
But you guys have a great intro, too.
What's that?
Hi, Tucker. Hi, Tom.
Yeah.
It's
that's
great.
it.
That's just a great way to start it. It's perfect. So, do you guys feel like you're undesirables towards the ladies? Because when I hear your stuff, it's like you guys are going on dates consistently. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a real contrast. Actually, we talked about that a little bit in our season finale, this past one, where we talked about how it seems like you would guess on the podcast that we were going on tons of dates. And that's often not what is happening. The premise was that we are just
bad at dating.
We're very bad at dating.
So that's why you're going on multiple dates, because you suck at it, right?
Yeah. Well, that's really not a lot of repeat business.
Yeah.
Well, you're in like a relationship now, so.
Yeah.
No, yeah, we talked about it on the season finale because especially the way that like you met us when I had like a real hot streak going.
Oh, wow.
Just date.
Yeah, you were telling me like, I met this girl on Bumble and she's like really cool, and then
Yeah.
it just fell apart, I guess.
That was exactly. Right after that was like my peak, and then right back to that it was here we go, back to the desert. Sweet. That's my comfort zone. Yeah. So like I would say, I mean, for me, like online dating is just, it's such an up and down that that was kind of the premise of the podcast, was like, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at like attracting people. So let me figure out together how to do this.
Let me figure out together.
Yeah, let me figure out together. I'm a wordsmith.
Yeah. We tried. We had never really dived into. I don't think you had been on a dating app at all when we first started, and then I had only barely done it, and we were just like, let's record ourselves figuring it out, and that is what we have done, for better but mostly for worse.
Mostly for worse,
really.
Yeah.
What have you guys, out of all the dates you've been on since you started the podcast, what have you learned about yourselves in the process? Like, what do you think you've done wrong, or what do you think that you've done well with the women you've been with?
I think for me, one of the things that we learned, especially even just in the first season, was that I am way too attracted to a risk.
I agree that
you know what?
way too attracted to a risk.
Yeah.
That happens.
Unpack that.
Of like, this date looks like it's going to be terrible. This person seems like they're going to be weird. I'm excited. Like, there have been so many times when you've told me, don't go on that date. That person's going to rob you, or that person's like, seems like a robot, or that person seems like whatever. And I'm like, this is why I'm excited for it. I don't know why.
I feel like you like dates that would have adrenaline associated with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if that's inherently good.
No, I think it's bad.
We talked about it on the podcast, but there was the one where I'm so sorry,
Dude.
There's the one where it was the girl with the fleshlight.
Whoa!
Oh, yeah. There was a woman who I matched with on Tinder who just had in her profile, like, hit me up on Instagram because I have like a very specific fetish. And I was like, I'm intrigued. And I get to her Instagram.
All the warning signs were there.
Oh, yeah. And I get to the Instagram, and it's like a locked Instagram. And it's like, there's so many warning signs here, but I'm going to dive in. And yeah, I messaged her. I mean, nothing turned out with it, thank God, in this case. And frankly, I feel like I should have gone further with this situation than some of the other ones. But yeah, I don't know. There was somewhere I'll just like go to Crown Heights at like 4 a.m. for what appears like a hookup, and then there's like just a guy there as well, just hanging out.
Just a guy.
You
like
arrived at your own murder.
Yeah.
You arrived at your death.
I arrived at my death, where it's like there's a person who portrayed themselves as like 28-year-old, nice Jewish lady, and then I arrive and there's another man who's just there, and then and she says, by the way, I'm like, I think she said like she was like 40 or something, and it was like, all right, this is gonna be a weird night. And then
wasn't she also like devout Jewish?
Yeah, she was Jewish to the point where we couldn't do anything, but then kept asking if she could come back to my place, and then I'd have to pay for an Uber for her back to her place in the morning every time she planned this out. It was weird. So yeah, I would say I like risks too much. I don't know. I'm just a connoisseur of experiences.
God, fuck you on that.
You're crazy. That's crazy.
Tucker, what about you?
I think often I'm just the contrast of you tend to go on these wild like roller coaster rides, and I'm just like, we grabbed coffee in a coffee shop and held hands and danced into the moonlight.
Yeah, but the difference is you have a second date there that it goes well, and then I never thankfully see my people again.
I mostly haven't had second dates.
Yeah, but you're dating someone now.
I'm dating someone now. Yeah,
but you made it.
You made it. Yeah. Once you get past the first date, you made it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think once you get past the fourth date, you made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually,
I've gone on many second dates where I'm like, no.
And yeah. Okay.
Why not?
There was one girl that I went on. First date was fine. It was really good. We like kissed at the end of it. Things seemed really great. And then on the second, I told Tom about it. I was like, this is going really great. I'm enjoying it. And then the second date, we were going to go to a museum, and I arrived there early, as is my thing. And
yeah, you guys came early to this.
Yep.
You beat me.
I was in the gift shop at the museum waiting for her to show up, and I was just reading a book, and then I hear from like across the museum, I just hear Tucker, and it sounds just like my friend's wife. And I was like, oh, I can't date this person. It wasn't them, but it was just like, you have the exact same voice as them. And I was like, I can't date you. No way.
I think that's one of the pettier reasons you've not dated someone.
That is pretty petty.
It's very petty, but imagine it.
Oh, no, it's fair.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on a date with someone that has the same name as someone you used to date?
I have not. I will often swipe left if people have the name of my ex. Or if they have, for instance, because her name is not super common. It's like fairly common, but the spelling of it is like, I can't do this again. I can't have my two long-term relationships be with someone named Sammy and someone named Sammy. I can't do that.
Okay. Wow.
And then, but if I see someone, for me, my last name is Ella. If I see someone with the first name of Ella, I always have a moment where I'm like, I should swipe right, because this seems like it'd be hilarious.
Yeah, you got to do that.
And but then I don't want to. I don't actually want to have that conversation.
I think it would be cool to date a girl with the first name Ariaga. Just like if we get married, it would just be Ariaga.
That would be great.
Great.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that have Tucker as the last name, I feel. So I get a lot of that too. Just like finding people that are named Tucker. I'm like, we could.
That wedding will be awesome.
I could take that name.
The Tucker wedding. Yeah. Mr. and Mrs. Tucker. That'd be so cool. So you guys started this to kind of unpack the concept of dating or your experiences dating. Because when I'm listening to you, it's not like you're telling people the do's and don'ts of dating. It's like, this is what we've experienced from dating.
We don't have
do's
of dating. We have don'ts.
Yeah. I think
you are the don'ts, right?
We are the don'ts,
it's really, learn what not to do by listening to our podcast. I think it changed a lot when we first started dating. We were like, trying to figure out
when you and Tom started dating.
When me and Tom first started dating, it was more
well
physical.
Straight men.
Yeah. It was like mostly just like physical, no emotion, and then the emotions got wrapped up.
No kissing at all.
Neither of us were into
no kissing, no mouth kissing. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pretty woman style.
Yeah. We started when we started the podcast. We were like, we're gonna figure out dating. We're gonna try to like, I don't know, get girlfriends. You know that thing, and.
Gross.
It kind of, I think this past season, it's progressed a little bit more into like really highlighting our like shortcomings as modern human beings.
Yeah.
Like really highlighting our ignorances and trying to expand learning about like other walks of life and different aspects of relationships that we've just been blind to this whole time.
Which I would say is probably more high-minded than the original concept.
Back,
we thought about doing the podcast maybe 6 or 7 years ago now or something, where we were both going to move to Nashville together.
Wow.
And I sort of backed out because I didn't have a job, so he just moved by himself.
Yep.
But that was back when Tinder was like very new and like no one was on it. It was just like on like the news sites as like the teens are hooking up, you know, and I didn't know anyone really that was on it or that wanted to say they were on it. So I was like, we should have a podcast in a new city where we figure this out and we give people the inside look at like what is it actually like. By the time we actually started the podcast, now it's flipped and everyone is on Tinder. No one is not on Tinder unless you're already in a relationship or you're weird. So so it became a little more like experiential, but then also bringing people on for interviews, bringing on like interesting people, kind of like teaching other people and us about different things. It was fun.
Yeah, you had the folks from Bounce on. That was really cool.
Had the Bounce Fuzz. Yeah, we've had a couple dating app developers, which is really interesting to get the inside look. We've had like a professional dominatrix. She gave us the rundown on like how do you become a professional dominatrix from like start to finish. Which was really interesting.
Pretty cool. A lot of insight into that whole community too, like the BDSM community. We've looked a lot at that, looking into like open relationships, non-monogamy. We just one of my favorites last year was, or this past season was, sex therapist. That was really fascinating.
We had one relationship therapist and one sex therapist. It's good times.
It's good times.
Do you two see yourselves getting into monogamous relationships, or will you explore?
I am in a monogamous relationship.
Big monogamy guy over here.
I'm team
Me too.
monogamy.
Yeah,
Serial monogamy over here.
I see you.
See you.
It's been weird trying to figure that out. It's maybe you have this experience. It's kind of weird being monogamous in New York a lot of times. I feel like it's such a
feels very old fashioned.
It feels very old fashioned.
Very gauche.
I feel like oftentimes like I'm like negatively traditional in the view of many other people in New York. Do you find that as well, Peter?
Well, living on Long Island is everyone's kind of spread out. You know what I mean? You're not seeing a bunch of people all the time. And I'm not in the clubs, I'm not in the bars, so monogamy is the one thing that makes sense, and I don't have the energy to be dating multiple people. Who has that kind of time? Like, come on, man. Give me one person I can talk to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rebuttal.
I don't know. I think that's a pretty common thing that I've heard about non-monogamy is like who has the time for it or the energy, and I think that's like totally fair and interesting. I mean, like I've only really explored non-monogamy like once. It was with my ex. We tried to have an open relationship for a bit, and it didn't really work, and that's why she's my ex. So that story kind of tells itself. But I think that's something I'm more open to because I think something that I've noticed here in New York, especially like the time to establishing the relationship and the time to like, defining the relationship as what it is and like we're exclusive, we're monogamous, etc. I feel like is much further out than when I used to live in Virginia and it was slower paced and everything. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure like in Long Island you'd have a little bit of a quicker DTR experience than in the city itself because there are so many people and you're just like, I'm doing so many things, I don't want to lock myself down. Not necessarily because I'm not confident about the person I'm with, but because it's like I'm trying to do 8,000 other things in my life. I don't have time to be making some big grand relationship at the moment. Like that's not what I'm interested in. Career focused, whatever. So non-monogamy in that sense kind of makes sense because you don't have time for monogamy.
Yeah, you know what it is? I think it depends on what your goals are.
Yeah.
Like for me, my goal is to be with one person.
Yeah.
Right? But I think when you're just when you're dating in that phase, you're not really monogamous until you define it.
Right.
Right? But it's not like, let's say if you go on 1 or 2 dates with somebody, you're not telling them, oh, I went on 2 or 3 dates with this person. You're not doing that because you're dating that person. But at the same time, if you're going on like 10 different dates with one person, at that point it's like, okay, what's happening here? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you can coast on that whole idea of like we've gone on 10 dates but we technically haven't had that conversation. And I think it gets kind of shady where you get into like we've gone on 10 dates and we haven't had the conversation. Technically we're not exclusive and you can keep doing it. But I think at a point you should have a conversation where you're like even just for like sexual health safety and stuff be like,
yes,
is this exclusive or is this not? Yeah.
Yep. And I also think that let's say if you built something up with someone for like 6 months, a year, and you've just been focusing on that person, like at that point, why would I want to do that same thing with somebody else? You know what I mean? I feel
I guess that would be almost more like a polyamorous situation where you have multiple people that you're dating, and like the spectrum there is so interesting. You should really look up at some point, like just Google image like Venn diagram of like non-monogamy because
wild.
There are so many different like rules and things that overlap, like what was it, like 100-mile rule or something where you can only be with people that are like 100 miles away. Like, like don't ask, don't tell. There's like all these different rules about like what do you want out of a second partner or a third partner or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the rules that my ex and I came to were like, we're gonna be traveling, so let's just do this while we're traveling separately. And then when we get back, we'll figure things out. But like, we had things like, I don't want to be keeping up with people. Like, I'm not trying to like go find another girlfriend. I have a girlfriend. That's not what I'm looking for out of someone else. I'm looking for a more casual experience out of this other person. And then my girlfriend is my primary person. So like the spectrum of non-monogamy is like, I mean, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Because every relationship is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no matter what, I think people are like, well, you can't even like you can have an affair in a non-monogamous relationship still.
It's not an affair.
What's that?
It's not an affair, right?
It is though. No, you still can. You can like there's still rules. You have to have like communication. There's like it's just as much like a precarious situation than a monogamous with a monogamous relationship. If you are having like if you're hooking up with like a friend, maybe that's a rule that you don't have. Like we shouldn't hook up in social circles or whatever. If it's an open relationship, then that can like you can still hurt the individual and you can still feel like we have some sort of exclusivity, even though it's not necessarily like we only have sex with each other. It's like, but we respect the boundaries that we do set. It's still like, that's one thing that I learned a lot from this podcast is that there's still a lot of like dynamics to it that I think the impulse that I had when I first went into it was to be like, it's this crazy thing that's like done by hoodlums or whatever, and it's not. It's
How
like
old are you?
I'm 3,000.
Okay,
and but then the more we learned about it and the more we talked about it, it's like this. It is still very much a careful and respectful and like tough thing to be in. Like it's two people just still like trying to get to know each other in the best way for them.
Yeah, that's interesting. But for me, I just want one person.
Yeah.
Same.
Give me one person.
way simpler.
You know what I mean? I have friends that I hang out with. I'm trying to keep up with them. And I want one romantic person, and that's it. I think it's a lot of work. And I have a job already. I have a podcast. It's just a lot of stuff, a lot of social expectations. A lot of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
I'll say
all that.
one of the nicest things about monogamy is that once you find your person, you're out. Yeah. You're out of the scene, baby.
Game over, baby.
No more going to bars and like seeing, who's there. If you go to a bar and you see someone eyeing you, you're like, who
cares?
Yeah, you're over there. I don't care. Make eyes at me. I'm taking.
You're harassing them. Make eyes at me.
Yeah.
You just flashed the ring on your finger.
Yeah. Like I was at a bar the other day, just like meeting up with a friend, and there was this group of women that just like, she was going to the bathroom and I was just sort of sitting there, and then there's this group of women who just come up the stairs and they're just sort of like looking at me or whatever, occasionally, just like giving eyes or whatever. And I'm like, is this a situation where I'm supposed to like walk over to them? Are they going to walk over to me? Are they interested? Are they just looking at me? Do they just want the table? Like, I don't know. And if I was in a monogamous relationship right now, I would have like looked at them and I would be like, I don't care.
Because there's like a potential prospect.
Yeah.
Like,
you have to evaluate every
good?
situation.
Yeah.
That's why people are like, I'm so happy to be out of dating.
Yeah.
That's something I hear from men more than women, is like, I'm happy to be out of dating, which I think is like an interesting flip on what you might expect from a gender stereotype. Yeah. It's too much. It's too much.
I think also like, because when you're in a relationship, it's still work. You're still working on each other. You're still, working out your kinks, your mistakes as human beings, and
I just
whatever.
coast for like 40 years and then get divorced. That's my
Oh, he goes 40 years, yeah. Why not? Like in 40 years, I'll be 60, and people are still going at 60.
People still dating.
Yeah.
Don't lock yourself out of that. I'm sure you'd be
what is forever? You know?
Yeah.
What? Right?
No.
So, as a podcast, not as people dating, have you felt that your show has grown in any way, from a listenership standpoint to the content that you guys are creating? What?
For me, I think we grew a lot in terms of our ambition as we went on. Like, we just tried to do bigger stuff than we were trying to do in the first season. I think that was really cool to see. The downside of that was we also tried to... some of those big things just take a lot of time. So we just had episodes that were taking like months and months to finish. But then also, I think some of our... At least for me, one of the frustrations was our equipment setup. We tried to like improve our sound quality. And so we had... You have 3 mics right now and a guy mixing it all together and stuff. We don't have that. We had 2 mics that needed to be hooked up, 2 identical mics, Blue Yetis, that needed to be hooked up to 2 laptops and then synced together manually afterward. And that is just like the most frustrating process. And it like led to just sometimes when we're just editing and like the episode just keeps falling out of sync, coming back in. So like learning how to manage all that stuff was, I think, probably the biggest technical challenge for me and like the biggest learning experience. Because I did not have experience as an audio engineer or anything before this. None of that.
Yeah.
I have a Yeti microphone.
Yeah?
Yeah. So so when I do stuff with my brother at home, if I don't come out here, I just plug in the Yeti microphone. I have Adobe Audition, let it rock, and then we just talk with one microphone, and it works.
Yeah.
You know?
It's really easy like that, and then that's our favorite thing, to just have one mic set up and then sit across from each other.
Easy.
It's so easy. Don't have to do anything. It's one file. But yeah, when we get like a couple people on the couch, then it's tough. Yeah. Then we do have 2 mics, but then it is like we have to sync up the audio files, and it's often a mess. And for some reason, records in different rates and stuff. It's weird.
But for me, just for me, I'm gonna count on my fingers how many people I have in one session. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm gonna interview a band, I can't have like a Brockhampton situation where it's like 18 people in one room. I can't do that. That's
Polyphonic
too much.
Spree or something.
Oh yeah, I can't. I just can't. Arcade Fire. I don't know how many people are in Arcade Fire.
I think everyone's in Arcade Fire.
You're in Arcade Fire. Yeah, right? We're all in Arcade Fire. We might have played keys at least on one album.
I'm the critic for Arcade Fire. I'm the
resident
one guy
critic.
who's not in it.
So you guys are on a network, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Red Circle is our network. Yeah, they're like a startup. They're pretty new. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're very aggressive about getting like smaller podcasts, especially to help them sort of grow and everything, which is really cool. Because I mean, I think discovery is like one of the hardest parts about podcasting. Because now it's like, I feel like when I was growing up, it was like writing on the internet was like a new thing, because like everyone could write, but like writing in like a blog or something, it's like that would really push you over. And then graphic design made you like the next big thing. and then video editing was like the next big thing. And now it's like, but all those things became common, and that's like less of a draw. And now it's podcasting, I feel like, because everyone has a podcast.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So yeah, like I think I really appreciate that they're focused on discoverability and like helping you move to the next level.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Have you grown? Like, has your listenership grown from being on Red Circle?
It's interesting. I don't know if we actually have been like maybe bad Red Circle guests.
Not even maybe.
I wanted to give us some. They have like really interesting promotional tools and stuff that we just haven't really been using because I think we're both content people and not marketing people. So like the marketing side of it sort of falls away sometimes because there's just so many parts of a podcast that just have to be like lined up. So we definitely have seen our listenership grow from the first season, which is great. But a lot of that is more us just getting better at using social media or something. Yeah. Which is to say we're still terrible at it.
Yeah, we're both people that have, like, at any given point, we have apps on our phone to stop us from looking at our phone. So the idea that we're, like, going to be scheduling social media posts just has not come to fruition. We get, like, reached out to, like, by very kind people that are like, let's cross-promote, let's do this really great stuff. And it's almost always the ball is dropped because I think for both of us, it's just something that's, like, that's where it becomes very uninteresting to us to be like, how do we get out there? How do we pollinate the listenership?
Gross. What? No.
What?
Don't say pollinate the listenership.
Pollinate their ears.
Ugh. Yeah, like I don't even keep Instagram on my phone generally, and that's where a lot of people message me. So for this, I was actually downloading Instagram to check to see if I had a message and then deleting it again after, which is a bad thing to do as a content creator. Yeah. Yeah. But
yeah, we're not great at that, but we have seen growth. Probably mostly through organic or being guests on other people's podcasts. Thank you for having us here. It's been quite, I think, a podcast evolution. I mean, when we first started, we were on Simplecast, which was a different podcast hosting network, and we were just kind of, I don't know, dating and then recording it, and it was like that simple. And now we're like, we want to tackle non-monogamy, or we want to tackle...
we have to schedule this interview 3 months in advance. Or I got an STD and now we have to record several months worth of going to the clinic to get checkups.
That was one of the best episodes you guys did.
Thanks, man.
You got chlamydia, Tom.
Yeah.
Then you go to the office and you ask them, can we record here? And they're like, that's like illegal.
Highly illegal. Yeah. That guy was having none of that. It's like a privacy. But I was like, but it's my privacy that I'm infringing. Why can't I do that? Yeah.
It's still illegal.
What about you? Like, what's the arc been for you?
What, for podcasting?
For podcasting.
I just kind of go at my own pace.
Yeah.
You know, I know just coming from a media background, social media is important, but I see how other media people, content creators go about using social media, and it's a little excessive for me. Like, I don't need to be taking a video of myself talking about my podcast every day.
Yeah.
I think if I have something to show, I will show it. Like, if I have a new episode up, I will pull it up, just do it's your thing. You know what I mean? So there's no one way to get it. As long as if people are listening to it, that's what counts. You know what I mean? Like, having social media is important, but you don't need to be on it every day and telling people, unless you have a new episode every day. If you have a daily podcast, great. Yeah. But if you don't have it every day, you can step back for a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you guys are, when your season is up, it's like it's every week, every couple weeks, right?
Every week.
So, every week, 2-3 days, we tell people, hey, we got this thing, we got this. It's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've been done for about a month and a half. We still haven't posted about our finale.
You didn't tell people about it?
We did. I mean, it got to him.
It got to him. Yeah, it got to me.
I might have tweeted.
Did you?
Yeah, I think I might have.
You might have tweeted.
I might have tweeted. That's someone hired me to be a marketer.
Oh man,
I might have tweeted. I don't know. Yeah, I think the growth I've seen from other similar podcasts is like I'm using like lots of memes and hashtags and stuff to get more people in. So I think it's a matter of like, do you want to communicate with your inbuilt audience, or do you want to like rapidly try to grow it? And I think for us, it was like, I would personally rapidly try to grow it, but I just don't. I need to hire an intern or something, a social media intern.
Yeah, but I think
I'm going to go to NYU and scout somebody.
We cannot promise college credit.
No,
we
I can't promise anything.
You can't even promise. Yeah, nothing at all.
You can put it on.
There's
your
no
resume
ROI
if
from
you
working with the
want.
Undesirables.
No.
No.
Yeah. No. It's possible having to go on a witness stand one day.
Yeah, this is really going to be implicating eventually.
But I think our podcasts are inherently niche.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you're getting a new audience of people that you haven't built already, it's probably because you're talking about something else. You know, like sometimes, I talk about music a lot, but sometimes I talk about pro wrestling. So I may get a pro wrestling audience. And sometimes I'm talking about dating podcasts, get people interested in that. Just organically. Like stuff that I want to talk about, you know what I mean? Like I might talk about video games. I did a podcast on cartoons one day, you know what I mean? So it's like you're broadening your horizons. Like I don't want a podcast, at least for me, to be just about one idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to just talk to musicians. I want to talk to musicians a lot, but not just them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you guys don't just talk about the dates you've been on. You're bringing on people that make, apps and stuff like that. You know, you're having different conversations about dating, which is great.
Yeah.
You can have one pro wrestler on who's like your realistic get, like not like The Rock or something, because that's impossible. He's too busy.
Yeah.
If you could realistically get one wrestler on here.
Tom is asking you this, and he has an answer.
If I can get a
I don't
pro
know
wrestler
that
on here?
answer.
If I were to get a pro wrestler here, it would realistically, it would be like an independent wrestler. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would love like a Joey Janela to come on but he's gonna, he's getting pretty big, but like, yeah, like I would go to like an indie show and talk to, if I were to do that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think learning about the indie circuit would probably be more interesting than learning about WWE at this point.
Yeah. I mean, because some of those guys that are on the indie circuit might end up in WWE or end up in, All Elite Wrestling or New Japan Pro Wrestling, wherever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, with music, too. Like, I'm not going to, talk to Drake or Cardi B. Like, that's wasting my time. You know what I mean? I'm going to talk to the artists that play around
Drake?
here.
Wasting
Your time. It would just be like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Like, in college, I tried to interview the Foo Fighters.
Whoa.
Big mistake. You know why? Because you had to email like 30,000, not a lot of people, but like you had to email this email, then that agency that represents them, and then they might not get back to you. It's like, no, let me just talk to the underground people out here. You know what I mean? Like, and then doing that, I got so many interviews. So
yeah. Didn't you turn down Tyler the Creator?
Yeah.
Really?
This was when he was still in Odd Future. I was the entertainment editor on my college newspaper, and so I'd get solicitations all the time, like,
okay,
do you want like this person to be interviewed? And I get this one interview. I was looking back through my old email one day, and I just see an invitation to interview Tyler the Creator, and I was like, I'm sorry, did I pass up interviewing Tyler the Creator when I was in college? Because that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'm so mad at myself.
Wow.
That was been like 7 or 8 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, this was like pre-Goblin probably.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Stupid.
Like why did you? Was there any reason why you turned it down, or?
I didn't know who he was, and we already had enough stuff on the plate.
Oh.
Yeah, we already had enough stuff, enough
Had to
articles.
Get that Zodiac.
Yeah, I didn't look them up because you get like so many offers from people sometimes when you're in like a position like that where your email address is out there that like you just start like filtering things like I used to work for like a video game site, and like the number of emails I'd get from like people just making iPhone games or something, like crappy iPhone games. It's like I have to filter through those and try to see who I recognize or like who might be worth interviewing. And so Tyler the Creator just sort of like dropped off my map.
That's insane.
That's one of the big regrets of my life.
That's insane.
Amazing. I think you getting an STD was interesting because you kind of handle it well. At least when you were on your podcast, you're like, yeah, so I just called my partner. I told her, yeah, you might want to get checked out.
Tears. Out when Mike's cut, he was,
come on, dude.
He was a mess.
For real, like how did you handle it?
I handled it, I think, actually pretty fine. Mostly the only real stress for a little while was like wanting to tell people, but because of the podcast not being able to. Like I wanted to tell Tucker, but like I wanted to be able to record the intro where I tell him in the intro.
That's great.
Yeah, so it was like
that's great.
It was like a week or two of just like I can't mention it. I can't mention it. This sucks. But yeah, like in general, I think I've just tried to own it as much as possible. Of like, yeah, I mean, like it's an STD, but it's like a very common one. A lot of people get it. Most people don't even show symptoms of it. So like, folks, get tested for chlamydia.
Yeah.
Get tested for whatever. Like, you might have something you don't even know. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's weird though, because like I went to a party recently with some old friends like from college, and one of my friends listens to the podcast all the time. And the second everyone else started showing up, he just started yelling about how I had chlamydia. And it's like, that's like the type of situation where I'm either gonna be like mad because he's telling people, or I'm just gonna like try to own it. So he kept going like, Tom has chlamydia, and then I would just yell across the party, just had.
Yeah, because there's women at this party. You know what I mean?
There are women at this party.
Yeah, that was like
that's wrong.
Yeah, no.
It was a conscious decision to not have that not be the last episode of the season for
That's true.
specifically that reason.
That
so
is
it'd be
true.
like Tom one day was like, because we were planning that to be the finale, and then like for months and months and months it went by us planning on it being the finale, and then one day Tom was like, hey, I don't think I want that to be the finale because that's what people are gonna listen to the most.
Yeah, because like people will listen to the most recent episode. Like, even though our podcast is structured in seasons, people will just like, I want to listen to the most recent one. And I was like, if they listen to the most recent one, and this is a person that I'm about to date or something, because a lot of times like people will look you up and then they'll see that you have a podcast and they'll listen to it. And I was like, they're gonna listen to like the first 5 minutes of this, and they're gonna go, nope.
Yeah.
And fair enough. I was recently dating somebody, and they wanted to listen to the podcast, and they listened to that episode, and they only listened to the first half of the episode. Wow. And I was like, that's the half where I still have chlamydia, not the half where I get it cured. That's my nightmare. You just fulfilled my nightmare.
Wow. But like, let's see, how recent was this date that you went on?
We dated for like 3 weeks, and that was probably it ended maybe like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was like fairly recent.
What happened after 3 weeks?
Oh, we had I think we just had different ideas about like the
Life.
future and how serious we wanted to be dating. So she was more along the lines of you guys, I think. Oh. And I was like, I just have a lot going on. I'm not trying to make a big serious relationship right now. And so like
I just got Zelda. I just
I mean,
yeah.
I'll say the new Zelda's coming out. You know what I mean?
Yep. Link's Awakening is coming out end of the month. So
Luigi's Mansion 3, I'm very excited for it. You know, I gotta say.
I do want to bring up that is in a hotel, and I don't understand that still.
That's true. Yeah. Luigi's Mansion 3 is not taking place in a mansion, it's a hotel. Well, I mean,
there's gonna be a pop up in Japan or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know,
on Halloween, that would be really cool. Look at us, we're marketing right now.
That's my
doing free marketing for Nintendo.
Yeah, it's like I felt like, listen, like I have other goals right now. Like I want to establish my career, I want to get my health in order, I want to do like this and that, and to have that be like the focus. It's like, I don't even know if I want to be in New York after like a year or 2 years or like
really.
Like yeah, like the idea of like I'm gonna commit to a relationship right now feels crazy. It's like trying to have a kid. I know it's not the same, but it feels like that's a lot. That's a lot right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
but wouldn't it be? I think it would be cool if you start dating somebody and both of you are at a certain level.
Yeah,
like let's say, okay, podcasting, and then the girl that you're dating is like she wants to be a doctor, a lawyer, and the girl you're dating is in law school, and you're getting your podcast off the ground. Like a year or two goes by, you get on a podcast network, or you get more followers, and you're doing a big live show, and then the girl that you're dating passed the bar, and she's now a lawyer, and then when you look back, you're like, remember when you were just starting? Remember you were in law school? I think that's cool.
You know what I mean? I love this whole story. Just weird.
It's very romantic, right?
Very romantic. No, yeah, I think there's definitely like growth together, and that's one of the things where like I think we just had the DTR conversation too quick, and so then we had our different ideas where it's like one person wants to make sure this is like a real thing that's going to evolve in a real way, and I'm like, it's too early for me to say.
You're right, it is too early. But how many dates have you been on?
How many dates have we been on that point?
At that point, for 3 weeks.
Maybe 7.
7?
8?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a little soon, I think. Right? What do you think, Tucker?
I think it's difficult to have define the relationship conversation. It's like a trick to balance that, where you're like, I want to define the relationship, but I don't want to get too involved into what the future looks like. Like right now, what is it? It's hard to have that conversation in the context of what is right now. And when you really get into like, well, where do you see yourself in a year? Then it's like, oh man, I have no idea. Who knows? That's where it gets complicated.
It's also just like, I just don't know what I want out of this yet because it hasn't been that long.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's like, let it grow organically. But I mean, I also don't think there's anything wrong with being like, I want to know this is something real. Like,
sure.
I had a friend that wanted to date a while back. You know this person, I'm not going to name. but I caught up with her recently because she's dating someone else, and we were talking about this exact thing, and she was like, I had the conversation on the first date with my new boyfriend of like, I'm looking for something that's like real and could end in marriage forever. Yeah. Wow. And it's like, if that's what you're looking for, like,
yeah,
sure.
If you are, if you have an expectation and you know exactly what you want, communicate that. That's like important. I mean, I think that's
interesting.
Yeah. I mean, like if that's something that's important to you, then you should make that known to the other individual. Like if it's not going to work out, then it's not going to work out. That's cool.
But Tucker, the girl you're dating now, like, how long did you guys, until you had that conversation of like, okay, this is where we are, and this is where we're going?
We decided we were going to be exclusive, like date
20 minutes in the first date.
Yeah, like 20 to no. We were
45 minutes.
Oh, that's better.
I think we like had the app conversation, date 4 or 5, of like it kind of like came up of like I'm not really on any apps anymore, and it was like I haven't been on apps for a little bit. It was really interesting. She was very much into the idea of we don't really need to have this conversation, and I was like, by way of podcast and everything, I was very much we should have like we're going to be exclusive, and she's like, oh yeah, we can say that out loud. Sure, I wasn't expecting that, but yeah,
it's a keeper.
Yeah,
she's a keeper.
No, she's a good one. And we had that conversation. I would say date 4 or 5, it became like officially exclusive. But since when we had our first date, I only went on one other date after that, and so it's been actually pretty easy and natural to just kind of like see how it goes. Yeah, but at this point we're full on dating though.
Perfect.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
It's great.
Very romantic, right, Tom? You must be heartbroken.
No.
What?
Very heartbroken.
You're very heartbroken.
Yeah.
What about
because the guy you've been dating is now seeing someone else.
I know. Yeah. It's tough to watch him, but if you love someone, you love.
You gotta let him go. Yeah.
He'll come back.
Do you love me?
He'll come back.
He'll come back.
Do you love me?
You say love you every night.
I do.
You see, Tucker said it too soon. That's what scared Tom off.
That's what scared me.
You said it too soon.
That's why I couldn't move to Nashville. I couldn't have that. I wasn't ready for that yet.
Every single night I say to my roommates that I love them, and sometimes they say it back.
I can picture that.
Yeah.
You guys are going
to sleep. It's really just like a shut the door.
Good night, Tom. I love you. Good night.
See, there's such a difference though between I love you and love you.
Really?
Yeah, because you say love you, that feels very casual.
Yeah.
If you said
love
you
me
in the eye, and you were like,
I'm in love with you.
No, not even I'm in love. That's a whole different conversation.
For sure.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what happened.
Yeah.
So it's in love, and I love you.
I think it's like in terms.
No, yeah. Switch to the bottom two.
Oh, so yeah, I see what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, which one was the most intimate?
In love.
That's interesting. When I was with my ex, we deemed that one as the middle one.
That's the middle one?
Yeah. Just love was the upper one. Because in love almost felt like an infatuation thing. Of like, there's still a little element of that.
Huh. Yeah. Like it's more physical.
Well, like, in the terms of like, you're just like I'm caught up with this person right now. I'm like very caught up with them. Like
you're in love with the moment.
I'm in love with them. Yeah. Like in the moment, infatuation. Like I think that was kind of where that went.
Really?
And then once you're past that phase, then it was like, no, I love this person. It's like, yeah, I love them. Yeah, that was where we landed, but also X.
I think if you say the full you, if you say love you, that's like romantic. If you
intimate.
say love ya, that's like
love y'all.
Love y'all. Yeah, that's very
that's polyamorous.
Yeah,
that's
love
like
y'all.
giving a high five. You know what I mean?
That's the casual polyamorous partner. Love y'all.
Love y'all, guys.
Awesome. So the one thing I don't, not that I don't understand it, is like with podcast seasons.
Yeah.
You know, me, I just keep going. You know, I don't stop. You know what I mean? Like, why is that? Because of your network wants you to have seasons, or you just need a break?
Yeah, no one wants us to have seasons except for our listeners. Probably our listeners probably want to break it once in a while. No, yeah. The first one, I don't think we had like the idea of doing a season in mind. It was really like a let's do this in perpetuity sort of thing. But then we were recording and then editing and then releasing every week. And we do like a heavy edit process where we're like cutting out all the silences, the ums, the ahs, making it.
Wow.
Yeah, we get deep in it. Like anytime someone does that like click with their voices when they're like one of those when they're purring up, Oh, it drives me crazy.
It drives me a little crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But me, I just let it fly.
Yeah.
So I need that rawness.
That raw.
Raw conversation.
I don't want that raw. I want that better than real. I want that hyper real.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to put a condom on. That's what,
Exactly.
Wear rubber.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need a creative condom.
Well, anyway, so that was exhausting after a while because, like, especially with the subject matter, it's like, it's just revealing so much personal stuff and, like, just having to schedule so many things, like being on the apps and, like, creating content, like going on dates or by just swiping and stuff, like being involved in the scene. After a while, it was like, I need a break.
Yeah.
We skipped one episode the first season, I think. We just fully, like, skipped it and just posted on social media, like, we are skipping. And then we came back and we were like, this is the season finale.
Because your podcast is like, well, to a degree, investigative.
Some of them,
Is that fair?
I think some of the episodes are, we're diving deep on the topic.
Yeah, rarely are we just like kind of winging it entirely. We do if we are winging it, we will typically make a big shit about us winging it.
Well, if we're winging it, it's because something notable happened.
Yeah.
Like our second episode is entirely winging it. I walked in the door and I was like, get out the mic, we're recording right now, and you're in the middle of eating noodles.
Yeah.
And that was because I had gone on a very notable. Well, I had tried to go on a very notable date, and then it turned out she was a robot. So it's like, all right, well, this is obviously something I want to talk about immediately while it's fresh. But generally now it's like we have a plan, or we have a guest, or we have a topic. So yeah, like now it's a little more work. But seasons, especially now, it's like having a break is really nice.
Yeah, we just put a lot into it, I think, when we're doing it. Like, we record for between 1 and 2 hours typically, and we'll try to edit that down to 45 minutes. So the editing process is like in an ideal world, we'll record an episode. It's probably an hour and 15 to hour 20 minutes. We want to get it down to 45 minutes. So one of us will take like a content pass where we try to eliminate all the ums and ahs and like all the big silences and thought pauses and stuff like that. And then we'll give it to the other person, who will then do more of a like getting them little minor ticks and things, making sure everything's really smooth, work on like timing and stuff. And a lot of times
that topic didn't work, let's just entirely cut it.
Yeah, and then and then in a dream world, we'll do one more pass where it'll be like just kind of listening to it and getting any this or that's that we might have missed, or like making it really, really snappy or stuff like that. So that process takes hours and hours and hours. So in a given week, I mean, we're probably dedicating, I don't know, 10...
Too long.
Yeah, too long to a free podcast that we make zero money on. And at the end of the seasons, typically it's like, this year we got to it and we were just like, it was a little bit more natural of arriving at the season finale. But last year we got to the end, in season 1, it was just like, I don't have any more to give to people. And so we the last episode is unedited. There's nothing in it at all. We just like recorded it and posted it. And oftentimes when it like fizzles out to the end of a season, we're recording in like, if we have to post it at 5 a.m. or something, we record it like, we were recording at like 7 p.m. the night before and then editing that very night. It's just insane.
There's been a couple times
when
I've been up at like 4:45 or something, finishing the last like couple things and making sure it gets posted.
I was training for a new job this season, and we did an episode where Tom went on a date for Time Out magazine, and it was like a heavy edit because I went to record an interview with his date, and then we recorded like a recap, and so it was me.
That was really cool.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a fun episode.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a fun edit, kind of Radiolab style or This American Life style, weaving in and out like the environment, but it was a heavy edit, and I was also training for a new job in San Francisco, so it's just like in a hotel room at like 4 a.m. and I have to be at a training at 8 a.m. and I'm just like, I have to do this. I don't know. So it's just insane. It's exhausting.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's so crazy. So Time Out magazine set you up on a blind date.
Yeah, they have a column, very unfortunately titled. We should really look into suing them.
We should
called
sue them.
The Undesirables. So a lot of times I'll mention to people like they're like, oh, what's your podcast called? I'm like, The Undesirables. And they're like, oh, I've heard of that. And I'm like, you haven't. You've heard of The Undesirables, because they're Time Out magazine. But yeah, so they have that column where they'll set 2 New Yorkers up on a blind date, and then you just meet at wherever they set you up, and you have no idea what they're gonna look like. You don't get to know anything about them, so you're kind of like looking at everyone as they come in, just like, is that her? Is that her? And we went to, I think, the Tuck Room, and Yeah.
The tuck room.
Yeah. It was a really nice date. It was really fun. We went to a bar afterward, and so I got the opportunity to like interview the guy who Will Gleason, who runs the column. Tucker interviewed my date. We had made plans for a second date, and then never went on them.
Hey, how are you?
Why? She sounded cool.
She it's interesting because you don't get any of that in the episode because the episode ends and it's like, yeah, we're gonna go on another date.
Will they? Won't they? Tune in. Never.
And then she had to go on like a trip or something, so she's gonna be gone for like a week and a half. And then so I hit her up when she got back, and then we just kind of did that New York thing of like you just fall off. Where like
so she ghosted you.
Well, I guess it's like one of those
mutual ghosting. I felt.
I would say I was more.
No, you reached out to her a week later.
I reached out. So I would say it's more of her ghosting me, but it was one of those like it's been a while. We had one date like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
She met somebody else. That's it.
That's what it is.
She met Tucker at the tuck room.
Come on, you know that's not true, dude. Cut it out.
Yeah, but it was a really fun experience. Like it's like one of those things where it would only happen because we have a podcast. That was the only way that would happen.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
That would have been a great love story.
It would have been.
But
it would have been great for Time Out magazine too.
Instead, I'm going to die alone. So,
yeah, that's the end of it.
Yeah, it is funny though. It is funny to see when that edition of the magazine came out, and then where our pictures are just in it, and so we're like spread out in the magazine, just like her coworkers put like a big like 20 magazine spread on like her desk or whatever when she got in to work. I'm just like all just flipped open to that page, and she like texted me a picture of it, and it was like, this is so silly.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, this
is
so silly.
Did you follow each other on like Instagram and stuff like that?
I think it might be Facebook friends.
Facebook friends?
Yeah, I don't remember. I guess I could always like hit her up again, but
yeah,
season's done.
Season's
done.
over.
Yeah, what's the point? You know?
Do you need more content?
No,
you know,
why not? If we're not in the season, I really have no point. No.
But after somebody ghosts you, it's like,
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Is like if we're not excited to see each other, it makes me less interested when they seem less interested. It's like if I'm having to struggle to get a response out of you, then I'm fine. I'm fine.
So how many times have you two been ghosted, or have you ghosted anybody?
So you're a bigger ghoster than me.
I think not in a while, but I used to be a little bit more loose on the ghosting on what I owed someone. I would
loose on the ghosting.
Loose. So you've ghosted people.
Yeah, I think I've probably from their perspective ghosted them. And that was, we've had this conversation a lot, and my view has probably changed a little bit more. But initially I was like, how much do I owe someone after one date? And that's still like a topic we talk about a lot. Like if you go on one date, it doesn't work out. It's like, I was of the mind, like, it's almost, if I went on a date with someone and it didn't go great from their perspective, and I sent them hey, like really excited for the second date. Like it was great for me, not great for them necessarily. And they just never replied, I'd take the hint. I'd be like, cool. Got it. I understand.
Yeah.
But I think
that's not ghosting.
In my opinion, that's not ghosting. Date 2, then maybe you should send them like hey, I'm not necessarily interested in it. And I think there were early on some dates where I went on where I'd be like date 2 or 3, or they might show that they are infatuated, and I really should send them like hey, I'm not necessarily interested anymore. But I think I was hesitant to do that before, and now I'm much more of the idea that if someone shows interest or you've been on a couple dates with them, you should probably let them know, because that's, don't string people along. I think you can, even if it's been like, there's no rule. I think it shouldn't be like, well, if it's just one date, that's like across the board. You don't owe them anything. I've been on dates where like they send me a very long text afterwards, and it's like, I think you had a really good time and I didn't have a great time, so it's probably, I should let you know that I'm not necessarily interested. But I don't think I've been ghosted.
Oh, get out of here.
Can you remember a time?
I've been ghosted so many times.
Go be in a car crash somewhere. Never been ghosted.
Have you? I mean,
yes.
I
mean, do you we had a 2-episode arc of
2-episode arc?
Yeah, of a very prominent ghosting. I've been ghosted.
Do you remember any time when I was ghosted?
No, I don't remember a time when you were ghosted.
Anyway, you said you've been ghosted?
I've been ghosted many times.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You've made plans. Well, I remember, I think I was like 19. I was talking to this girl. We were getting along great. And then it just stopped.
Yeah.
The conversation everything just stopped. I'm like, okay, I got the hint. Whatever. And it's been so many times. I met this other girl in college. We were talking for a while, and then nothing. And wow, this has been a story of my life. Actually, I met this girl on Hinge once, and we were talking, and then everything stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was months ago.
Was that pre-date or post-date?
Pre-date.
Pre-date.
It's when you take it all in as like a history. And you're like, is it me?
Like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
I'm
you start to
definitely-
think about that.
Yeah, that's why one of the reasons why I'm much more like I don't view it as like ghosting only if it's like post date or only if they're like invested or like I think it's just there's degrees of ghosting. So like if you're pre-date and you're having good conversation and then one person drops off, I still think that's ghosting.
I've had a million of those.
I just think that's like not as bad.
Yeah.
It's like if it's like a slow petering out, then then it's like kind of like a more mutual thing of like, well, I'm not responding, they're not responding, whatever. Like that's fine. But when it's like one person just like stops,
stops.
It's like I feel like that's when it's like, all right, you just stopped, and that sucks. Whether it's like pre or post a date, like I will almost always, if I go on a date with somebody, usually I will send them a text afterward if it's like, like this was fun, but I'm not really feeling it, or I'm not really looking for this right now, or something. Just because I feel like I would rather get that in response. Like I've had that a couple of times where someone's just like, hey, that was fun, but I don't know that I'm really interested in another date or whatever. And then I'm like, thank you for telling me that. That's amazing. Like thank you for respecting me as a human enough to just assume that I will be fine to have a rejection. And then they're like, oh, thank God, because I was so nervous sending it. And it's like, we should be okay with rejection.
Yeah, I'm all right with it. Just tell me. Just like, hey,
it's just tell me.
Cool. Or like, I can't make it or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. You know what I mean? Just tell me. I remember in college, this one girl ghosted me, and then I saw her, and she tried to make small talk with me. I was like, okay. I just didn't care. I'm like, I'm just over this. I'm like, great, it's good to see you, whatever. But it's like, you left me hanging, but I don't really give a shit. Just, I'm over it. Whatever. Yeah. Like, don't do that. You know what I mean? Don't do that to people. Don't like blatantly ignore somebody and then try to make small talk with them when you see them.
If you're gonna have like a relationship with them, like even a friendship relationship after that, you should like settle that at least.
Yeah, just say something. Yeah. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. You could tell me to go fuck myself. Just at least do me the.
Probably don't tell me that.
Just at least tell me.
I would rather have a fuck yourself than a
nothing.
Probably. Yeah. Because I think nothing is just, to me, feels so disrespectful. It's like,
you think fuck yourself feels more respectful?
Yeah, I do. Because
you
you respected me enough to tell me.
Yeah.
I would rather have someone tell me they don't like me or whatever than them like smile to my face or something, like if it's like in person.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you respect me enough to be like, hey, no. Like, screw you. I'm not trying to like impress you. Yeah. So if somebody's like, hey, like I had a bad time, like you did this thing wrong. It's like, A, that's a learning experience for me. And B, like, I'd rather just know than like in the back of my mind wonder what happened or it's a closed book. I just dropped into a weird accent there. I don't know which one it was. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like a closed book. It's like I have a conclusion to this. I have a finality.
Yeah.
Whereas
and someone has told me, girls have told me in the past, oh, I just don't see us like that. I'm like, great.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Sure.
At the time when you're like in 17, 8 years old, you're like, fuck you. In your head, not actually saying it. But like in the long run, it's like, that's great. I respect that. You know?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Have you ever ghosted anyone?
Have I ghosted anyone? No.
Pre-date ghost? Like you have a conversation and just fizzles?
No.
Wow.
I've been ghosted. I've never ghosted anyone. Yeah.
Tom?
I've been very open to people of what I want and what I don't want. And like, high school or whatever. But like after that, it's like I've never left somebody in the dust. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't do that.
How quickly when you're talking to someone are you telling them what you're looking for?
Well, to be honest, I have just recently I've been starting to date more.
Yeah.
Like I've never been in in many positions like that to have that conversation. You know what I mean? The last time I really had a conversation like that was like in high school, and I told somebody, I don't really, I don't like you like that.
Yeah.
But a 17-year-old boy's version of saying something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But outside of that, and up until now, I've never been in that position to have that conversation. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Are you currently on any, because when we first met you, or when I first met you, it was post, you guys went on a
City Swoon.
Yeah. City Swoon.
Speed dating 2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
they're still around.
did anything come of that for you?
Hell no. Absolutely not.
You said you did message a couple people from that, right?
Yeah, it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
But so I'm like, fuck this. And I tried dating apps. I did Tinder. I did Bumble. I did, what else did I do? I did Hinge.
Yeah.
Nothing. I'm like, I don't want to do, like, it's not that I didn't get matches, a lot of matches, but it's like, I don't want to just swipe all day.
I know.
It's tough.
You know, I can't do that. It's just, and you're waiting for people. I wonder if people responded to me. I wonder if I got matches. I don't want to put myself through that.
Have you tried Bounce?
I tried Bounce. Yeah. Bounce was another one.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. So I'm like,
oh,
whatever.
really? Wait,
Yeah.
did you go on a date or did it?
No. Just
Listen,
never got anyone.
that's 100%. That's like most of the time. That's what
I've
happens.
still never
Yeah.
matched with anyone on Bounce and on a date.
Yep. So, fuck it. I just said fuck it to all these dating apps. I'm like, I'd rather just talk to people in like real person. But on the other hand, it's like, where do you meet people? Like, for people who don't use dating, or, you know what I mean? Who don't want to use dating apps, it's like that don't go to bars or whatever. It's like the only places that you go, at least for me, I go to work and then I go home and then I go to a concert. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's never like a space where it's like, okay, I'm gonna go here and meet people.
Yeah.
That's why I've asked couples. I'm like, how? Like not just couples, just in general. How do people meet people? You know what I mean? That don't use dating apps.
I think for me, that's something that is really interesting because I got off most of the dating apps recently. Now that we're not in the season, it's like I just don't feel the need to. And also I was dating that person, so I was like, oh, I don't need to be on that dating apps right now. But it's now I'm kind of in that stage of like, all right, well, if I wanted to meet someone, I don't really want to do it through an app. Where would I meet people? And then it kind of, same thing as you. Like I went to a concert last night. I go to work. I go home. Whatever. Like sometimes I hang out with people, but generally not too much, you know. But doing that and like examining that is like, well, the way you meet people is you go to other things. Like you find reasons to go to either a bar or you find reasons to go to like a club, not like a club like a dance club, but like you, I don't know, like ping pong club or something. I don't know. Like you go to like things.
Ping pong club.
Yeah, you have like shared interests. Like you go to like you join something. You like go out to the park, you know, with friends or something. Like you become a more social person, which will make you more attractive to the people that you do meet. Because if you're just a person who goes home and work, it's not necessarily interesting either for when you do meet someone.
Yeah.
So it's like you'll stumble across someone eventually, probably, if you just go home and work and everything, which is kind of what I was doing when I met that person. Was I'm just going home and work, and then Tucker introduced me. So it was like you'll stumble across someone. But in general, if you're trying to meet someone in real life, it's like you have to be putting yourself out there, not just in dating situations. Like I'm going to go to a bar and pick someone up, but like I have to be a more social person. I have to like go do more things, more activities, join a sport, join a club, whatever, so that you'll have more social circles that you're in.
Yeah.
And most of my friends, actually majority of my friends, are in relationships. And a few have told me, well, one of my friends met, who's now married, they met in college, so there's that. And another one of my friends met their girlfriend in a school club. So there's that. And then somebody else I know told me they met their boyfriend through like friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just hanging out with people and they get introduced and you kind of know, you kind of have mutual friends or mutual.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
That's it, really. Like, like you said, doing a club, doing some sort of social thing.
I think meetup is a little bit better. It's like a natural, like I'm just putting myself out there, being out there, and doing things I enjoy, interests.
As you would, like you're going
would.
to a concert or like,
Totally.
a friend would like, has a get together and they introduce you to somebody. Something may happen with that. That happens too.
I think the key is almost like to not be joining that thing because
be dating.
Yeah, to find someone is you're joining it because you like it.
Yeah.
Like we were at a climbing gym a while back.
Yeah.
And we were just there because we liked it. But like there were also a lot of very pretty women there. And it was like there's some cool people. I could meet someone here. And then I got lazy and I also broke a rib and then I stopped going to the climbing gym. And so now I'm going to die alone again. But it's fun because it's like that is just an activity that I'm just doing. And there are like more social circles for me to explore than just my normal ones.
Right.
Or like our other roommate, he'll go out
every night.
Yeah, to like clubs and go out to all these things. And, you know, I enjoy that lifestyle, but it's also very expensive and very consuming on your body, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
So like for me, like I'll go to every once in a while. And every time I do, I'm like reminded like, A, this is really fun. And B, like you meet a lot of people here. So it's like, it's just very, you really have to put yourself out there. And like, you have to say yes to like everything to start meeting people in person.
You know, it's also interesting. Let's say you go to a concert and you see women there.
Yeah.
They're thinking, like, you may have, in your head, you're like, okay, I'm going to talk to this girl, try to get her number. But, like, I try to think about what they're thinking. They're thinking, I don't want to meet nobody. I just want to enjoy the show.
Yeah.
And this particular girl may get hit on all the time. That's my assumption. So I usually, like, I don't really do that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Unless, like, it's a natural conversation that starts. I'm not going to go up to somebody and be like, yo, because they're going to be like, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable.
The dream is that you're just having a conversation and you click. And you don't, also I feel like as a rule, you don't want to approach someone as a romantic, like strictly a romantic interest if you meet them out in the world. It'd be great to be like, there's a conversation I'd like to have with them, or like, you know, you're dancing together. Like, this is a lot of fun.
Hey, come here often. People have pickup lines anymore? Is that still a thing? I wonder.
I'll say one of the things about that as well is that it is very easy to get so wrapped up in your head about what they must be thinking. And like they must not want me to approach them. Like I'm going to approach them. I'm going to strike out immediately. Like they don't want me to approach them. Or, you know, I'm going to be bothering them, et cetera, et cetera. And you kind of want the conversation to just be this natural thing. You're kind of envisioning it like, I would wish something would happen where we'll just start talking. We'll just be in the middle of something. And the thing that happens is one of you starts talking. Someone has to approach the other person. Yeah. And I find like people are, this is one of those things where it's very easy to say and sometimes it's very easy to do, but often it's like all this advice is about to go out the window because it's very nervous still. But people are actually are more often than not fairly receptive to talking, as long as you're not giving like some cheesy pickup line that just makes it clear you're only interested in like, let's go bone tonight or something. Yeah. It's like if you're at a concert, like the concert I was just at last night, it was,
who'd you see?
Leia, Machine Girl, and Gorilla Toss.
Wow. I actually thought about going to that. But I was cool. What was I doing last night? I was editing a podcast and I already went to a show. I love Gorilla Toss. Yeah. I went to a show on Friday and I'm going to a show next week, so I kind of just you know what I mean? Financial priorities.
For sure. It was fun. The 3 acts were very different. Very different. It was such a weirdly booked show because like one is like violins and a harp, one is Machine Girl, who immediately within 2 minutes of their set broke a drum because the drummer is so like fast and furious and is like hard mosh pit, and then the third one is like kind of a mix, Gorilla Toss. So there's such an opportunity there of just striking up a conversation about the show you're at. Like there was a guy who just struck up a conversation with me and kept trying to do it throughout the night, which was like at first like fun, and then at some point it was like all right, like you're trying to integrate into our friend group, but like that's not going to happen right now because like we're all here to enjoy the show and you're trying to like make friends. And
the man said no.
Yeah. At some point like you can get too pushy and that's like key. But like it's so easy to just like hop into a conversation by just commenting on the show. Yes. Because like there is an activity to life almost always. Because
it's a social activity.
Yeah.
Like I went to Elsewhere the other day and there was like the whole setup was strange. It was this big figure that was like hanging above the ceiling, which I've never seen before at Elsewhere. There was like a gigantic DJ booth, which I've never seen. And, you know, this dude just started talking to me. He was like, have you been here at Elsewhere? I'm like, I've been here a couple of times. You know, it's a great venue. And it's like, what the hell is that thing? I'm like, I don't know. elsewhere it's just different. He's like, yeah, it is kind of different. Like, who you here to see? Natural stuff. You know what I mean? It's like,
you can strike up a conversation that's natural as long as you keep it about what's happening around you, especially.
Yeah.
So I think, but the key there is like, if that person is receptive and keeps talking to you, then great, because they have an interest. And if they're not, then like, yeah, you strike out and it sucks, and rejection always sucks. But at the same time, they're not interested, and that's good to know as well. Because now you're not just like thinking like, well, I should ask them out. It's like, no, like I tried to start a conversation. They weren't receptive. So great. Now I know they're not interested. Like I have quenched that question in my mind, which is nice. Thank you for, yeah. So I think people are a little more approachable than you think. It's just a matter of how you go about it. Yeah.
What's your intention? Like women, they know your intentions.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Like if you're just talking to someone, they know you're cool. Like they'll continue to talk to you. Yeah. But like if you're just, you know what I mean? If you come up with try to grab something or trying to, you know what I mean?
If you're transparent about it, then it's that's off-putting even if they do like you. But I don't know, like, there was a person whose nose got broken last night.
Oh my God.
Something. Like at one point I was taking a breather on the side of the mosh pit, and then this tiny woman just like walks over and she's got her hand to her face, and then she just stops right next to me and she like turns down and suddenly just sees a lot of blood just coming from her nose. And I was like, wow. Yeah. And then she like, runs off to go clean it up and everything. And then during Gorilla Toss, I took a minute just to go downstairs to the bar so I take a breather, because at Machine Girl I had refractured my rib.
Wow.
In the mosh pit. Yeah.
Are you in a mosh pit? Okay.
Yeah. I'm in a good amount of pain right now.
Wow.
But I went down there and she was just sitting at the bar, like just holding her nose still. And I was like, are you okay? Because like, I saw that and that was a lot. And we talked for like a minute or two. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to go back up to my friends.
Okay.
But like, person was receptive to me just coming over and talking because there was an obvious thing to talk about.
Yeah.
So that's my read on like in-person stuff is you have to put yourself out there in more ways than one.
Yeah.
Because someone has to do it. That's the only way that an in-person thing starts. Just like on online dating, someone has to right swipe first.
Somebody has to swipe.
You have to swipe.
But I think the real life stuff is a lot better, in my opinion. Because in real life, you don't have to like, when you sign up for a dating app, 9 photos. You need to write up a whole bio. Yeah.
Present yourself in a light that's funny, but not too funny, serious but not too serious, sexy but not too sexy.
Yeah.
Curate.
Yeah. I think you have to not treat life like a dating app though too.
Yes,
I think,
sir. Just live your life.
Yeah. There's been.
How do I delete the life dating?
Oh.
How do I delete and restart? Clear my matches.
Suicide hotline. I'll tell you that much. Yeah.
But no, because like if you are like approaching someone in the same way that you would on a dating app, it's so fucking artificial and weird, especially in person. There was like a girl on a train I was attracted to once, and like exchanged numbers, and we ended up going on a date. But it was also super weird because like on that date it was like, oh, we have no interests. Like you don't like music, or you
no way.
Yeah, man. And then you just meet them and you're like, oh, weird. This is why dating apps work, or like why you would date someone that's in your life, because you know that you have like an interest or like a shared circle or whatever.
She had no interests?
No interest that it like aligned with mine. And then afterwards we like stepped out of the bar, and then she like was like, you mind if I smoke? And I was like, oh, you smoke cigarettes. That's the kind of thing that I would see on a dating
So what was
app.
she interested in when you guys were talking?
I mean, she had like a crazy like story. She was like she was a cook on a boat, and it was very interesting, super cool.
Okay.
And she would go on like cruises as like a cook and stuff, and it was really, really awesome. And then like she also like helped out like a retirement community. She was really into like social work, which is great, but it's like she's great. It was really cool, but it was like I'd bring up a band or whatever, and she'd be like, no, I have no idea. And she'd bring up like an artist or something, and I'd be like, I have no clue on what that is. And it was just like a lot, like literally be like,
well, who did she listen to?
I don't know that she listened to things actively. I don't think she was like, this is, I don't know.
I heard this one song that one time.
Right. My most recent ex did not like music at all.
Nah.
Yeah,
not
dude.
fam.
Or movies, really.
Or movies.
Or culture.
Or anything?
Yeah.
Nothing.
How?
Yeah.
She did not consume
She was
media.
an enigma.
She doesn't do anything.
No, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Wouldn't know. Like, you could say, like, what do you think about Michael J. Fox? And she'd be like, I haven't met him. I don't know who you're talking about.
But you guys met on an app. I think that can happen either way.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Great.
Yeah,
that's
like,
horrible, but that's
You meet
hilarious.
someone in person, I think the nice thing, even if you don't have a ton of shared interests, is at least like you know that you're attracted to them and you know that you have at least like that baseline. Whereas online, I think you kind of remove that in some ways.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think online, you know you're attracted to them. You
I
know.
don't.
Well,
Because a lot of times you show up for the date and it's like,
yeah, if you're being
I don't
like
know.
catfished or whatever, like,
Well, no, not even catfish, but just like that. Those pictures made me think that person looked a different way than they
that's
do.
catfishing, bro.
But that catfishing to me implies like intentional.
You're
some
trying to
filters
get
and shit?
something out of this person. Like you want their money or
but
whatever.
like that's like when you have like you look at your own pictures and you're like, I think this looks like me, and then one of your friends looks at your pictures and is like, no, you should switch out your pictures.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking specifically of like filters and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not like one of the dates I went on was like we had great conversation for like 2 weeks. We were like so good with like banter and everything, and like her pictures looked pretty attractive and everything. I was like, yeah, I'm excited for this. And then she showed up for the date, and about 5 seconds later, I was like, I'm actually not attracted to her. That sucks.
Yeah.
I'm not really there. I'm not feeling it. So like with meeting like someone in person, it's like at least you know what they actually look like. So it's really more in this case about like a spectrum of you're looking to date and you're looking for that experience. So if you didn't have a ton in common, but you were more open to like casual and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. That's
Then,
way
yeah.
different. Yeah.
Then that would be.
Was that what was happening? Did I fuck up?
Yeah, you fucked up.
Dude.
You could have just had a casual fling with this person who you found attractive, and that would have been fun.
That's super weird. Oh,
There's something
man.
to that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
But look,
take my
you're
life
in
tonight.
something now. You got something special now.
Suicide hotline. Again.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
I am happy now.
Yeah,
There you
you're in a
go.
relationship
Yeah,
now.
you would have been miserable the other way.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Smoking cigarettes afterwards is like post-coital sex. No, thank you.
I've never done
Coital
that.
is the grossest word. Coital.
Coitus.
Coitus.
Coitus is a great word.
Coitus.
Coital is.
Sounds like you're talking to Curtis and you have an accent. Hey, Coitus.
Yeah.
I think I want to. I've never smoked a cigarette, but I think I want to light one up.
It just it looks cool,
It's so cool.
looks cool. Maybe next time I have sex,
especially in like the mob
2021.
movies and all the gangster movies. Everyone's smoking
I
something.
know. Seeing John Hamm smoke a cigarette, man, does
That's
it
your
for me.
yeah. That's your fetish.
That's my kink.
That's my kink.
Yeah.
John Hamm.
Yeah, it was John Hamm smoking a cigarette.
So when is season 3 getting started? You don't know yet.
We haven't really talked about
We haven't
a
talked
date.
about it. Oh,
Yeah.
We've talked about the idea, but we haven't talked about when we're gonna kick it back in yet.
so you're just texting back and forth. Nothing crazy yet.
Yeah. Sort of like talking about the ideas we might have to restructure it and stuff, make it a little less. Might be like a little less of a weekly
Yeah.
check-in sort of thing, and more of like a let's focus on the deep dives and let's do more ambitious stuff.
Before you go to dinner, let's have coffee first.
Let's have,
Sure, yeah.
exactly,
Exactly what it is.
exactly.
Yeah.
But then I want coffee breath at dinner. Actually, I'll think about it.
Yeah. Third season, I think we're going
Yeah.
a little less away from like the grind and like let's have a podcast. Like at this point, we've had a podcast, we've
Yeah.
done it, we do it, and now I think the third season we want to have like we want to step away from it being like this was really good. Let's share this. Like we have a product that we now are like proud to share.
I also just want to have the whole thing done before we release it,
Yeah.
which is what our goal was for season 2, and we recorded maybe
A lot of it.
10,
Yeah.
7 to 10 episodes we had recorded before we started publishing, and that was amazing because then it means we just get to publish for 7 weeks while we're just building the rest of the 7 weeks or whatever. So I think like season 3, start conceptualizing it a little later. Like I think right now, I think we're both just enjoying the break.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, we're both just enjoying like taking a minute.
Yeah.
No editing.
God bless.
No apps right now for either of us.
Great.
I'm still writing about things for Tinder.
Yeah.
And still interviewing and like getting interviewed and stuff. So dating's still in my life in that way. But
From doing that, you can probably get ideas
Yeah.
for future episodes.
oh yeah, absolutely. So for right now, it's like breathing a nice sigh of relief. And we'll do season 3 pretty soon.
Yeah.
Just in time for Christmas. Maybe.
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 Maybe have a Christmas special.
Christmas special sounds fun.
That would be
Yeah.
fun.
Unwrap this.
All right, bud.
That's the tagline.
That's the trial part. Trial by fire.
That's the Patreon exclusive one. Yeah. Perfect.
No.
Thank you guys, Tucker and Tom, Undesirables.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
This was super fun.
Yeah. It's been level 36, 37 with My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Don't forget to follow My Little Underground Twitter, Instagram at MLU Pod. Subscribe, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, radio.com on the app only, and anywhere else you get podcasts, YouTube as well. Undesirables, where can people find you? You both.
We're on Apple Podcasts,
Everywhere.
Spotify, Google Play, pretty much anywhere you get podcasts. You just search The Undesirables.
If you want our very sporadic social media posts, go at undesirablespod.instagram.twitter. Hit it up.
You're
Hit
so-
it. Hit
It's
it.
all
out.
there.
Review us.
So bad, dude.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Peace
man.
out.